Welcome to She Who Rises Up. I'm your host, Lara Kalaf, and my intention is to uplift, elevate, and empower you through conscious conversations that will support your growth, healing, and evolution. My mission is to empower women and support the rise of the feminine in the corporate world. My favorite quote is, "She remembered who she was, and the game changed." And this is my desire for you ladies to remember who you are so you could change your game. Please come in and join me. This is your podcast. Hello, greetings. Hello, my beautiful women. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, She Who Rises Up. I'm delighted that you are joining me today in this conversation about ayahuasca. You've seen it in the title. It's called My Ayahuasca Experience. And I've been really looking forward to sharing this profound experience with you. How are you? How have you been? I'm still in Madrid. This also means that my phone, not my phone, what's it called? My microphone is in London. The sound might dip or might not be as powerful as, and also means that you might hear my dogs barking in the background. So let's dive into today's episode. Now I'm going to make some assumptions here, and I'm assuming that if you're listening to this episode, it's because the plant has been calling you for a little while, and this is part of your personal research. It could be that you sat with the plant before and you want to revive, reawaken, refeel her energy through the experiences and the stories and shares of others. Or it could be that you are curious to know, especially if we are connected on social media, we have been working together, you are curious to know, what's all this about? Actually, I've never heard of it, but I'm curious. Now, apart from saying that ayahuasca is an indigenous plant, also known as the medicine, is not a drug. I've never taken anything in my life, no drugs whatsoever, so I would never ever take drugs. She is known as the medicine. She's also called the grandmother because she has a really grandmother-y energy to her. Abuelita, which is grandmother in Spanish, or Yaguecito, that's how she's called as well in South America. Now, there's plenty of information out there online on what the plant is, the ingredients, where it comes from, the benefits, the risks, how it's cooked, where it's legal to consume, because not everywhere in Europe you could consume her. My intention today is to share this profound experience with you. I want to share my truth, which is not the truth about ayahuasca, not at all. In fact, different people sitting with the medicine will have different experiences, and every single experience is also the truth. I'm not here to encourage anyone. I would never do that, especially with something like the medicine, because it's a very personal decision and a choice that you need to make when you feel it and know it in your heart. Not because so-and-so did it, not because it's trendy, or not because you're supposed to, because you are on the spiritual path or the consciousness path and this is what you're supposed to do. No, not at all. I first learned about the medicine around 6-7 years ago when she came first to my awareness, but I wasn't ready for her yet. No, but she kept in my radar. In fact, it's very close to home for me because my blood sister has been taking the medicine multiple times for the last couple of years, and I still remember the day that she came to pick me up from the airport after she came from a retreat, and I could feel how light and she looked and felt. But that wasn't for me an invitation for me to take it. In fact, it wasn't until a month ago when I had a full body yes answering the call of the medicine. Now, this is what I believe. I believe that although the plant is available to everyone, it's not for everyone. And why I'm saying it's not for everyone, number one, because you have to be brave to sit with her. Anything, literally anything can be shown to you, can happen during the ceremony. I feel my experience is that the plant will meet you exactly where you are in life, providing you what you need and not necessarily what you want. Not necessarily what you want, but definitely what you need. Why did I sit with the medicine? For two reasons. Number one, because I had been feeling blocked for some time and I had a sense of dead end. I'm constantly working on myself anyways, and I also felt I needed a little bit of a hardcore intervention. That is one of the reasons. And the second reason, because I thought, is it something that maybe I could then share with other women in case it's also part of their path, maybe through a retreat or whatever. So these are the two intentions that I want to sit with the medicine for. I did it in Spain, where actually is one of the few places in Europe where it's still legal, and may it continue for a very long time. Amen to that. Now, how did I prepare? You know what? It was very interesting because the plant started working on me very subtly, very gently the day I said yes to her. Not the day I sat with her, the day I said yes to her. And it was so lovely to witness, those disempowering or nonsensical or unhelpful life little details that normally you don't even notice them because I am so used to me, I don't see me anymore. You are so used to you, you don't see yourself anymore, right? So the plants almost like woke me up to these little details. Now, food is so important as you prepare for the retreat. You'll be given what's called la dieta. La dieta means in Spanish the diet, with things that you could eat, you can't eat. Also super strict when it comes to drugs in general, both recreational and pharmaceutical. Your shaman, your guide will work you, talk you through all that. I took it upon myself to do a diet, a phone diet, a technology diet, and social media diet. And I also included the spirit of the medicine in my altar work, and also when picking my cards, my oracle cards or the tarot. I was also listening to specific music, so I really took it seriously, especially the week before the ceremony. Now, one thing actually I'm thinking to do next time is to fast and be on water or juice 24 hours before the ceremony. This is actually something that I might do next time. I wasn't scared at all. In fact, the few days before, I had this really overwhelming feeling of enthusiasm and excitement. And I also deep respect. I have to say that I was really feeling the respect towards the plant. So all this was part of the purification process, right? Before you sit with her. Now the big day arrived. It took a while to get there. It was near Alicante, by the coast, Spanish coast, and it felt like a pilgrimage, which actually also added a touch of mystical to the experience. Now we started arriving there early afternoon. The location was really, really lovely. The space also was lovely. Vegan food available with lots of fresh fruit. It was actually available up to lunchtime because we couldn't eat after that, in preparation for the evening ceremony. The people were also so lovely. Our guides, what a delight of humans our guides were. I would love to say that they were professional, but do you know what? I'm not going to say that because for me, professionalism has a shadow aspect, and that is being an inhibitor of truth, authenticity, and creativity. And in fact, truth and authenticity is so very much needed as our guides and our conductors of the night. Now, our shamanic team, again, was absolutely, look, I would say instead of calling them they were professional, I would say they were dedicated to love. They were dedicated to healing. They were dedicated to the plant. They were devoted to the plant. They were devoted to helping people raise and elevate their consciousness. This is how I would describe them. Right. So it wasn't until approximately 9 p.m. when, with the sunset, that we gathered in this beautiful, big, large room. It was full of mats all over. You know, you had an individual mat each. It felt like a temple. It was really, felt very sacred. I wore a comfy gown after having a shower, you know, again, to purify myself externally and get in the zone. I set a mini altar right next to my mat with the goddess Isis and my ancestors and I called upon them. I called upon the angels. I did my prayers, you know. I asked for help, support, protection. I shielded myself so no dark energies and entities can attach to me, because you're very open, right? You can really get opened. Now, I'm going to come back to this. This is an important point. Again, the mats were ready, tissues, extra pillow, you've got your extra blanket, and of course, the worldwide famous bucket for puking. Of course, we had to vomit. Of course, puking, crying, laughing, going to the toilet. It's so normal. It's so normal. It's all part of the holistic release process. Then we shared some final thoughts. And also we got some final guidance from our guides. And then the ceremony began. And a mysterious and enigmatic portal opened. It was filled with sacred smoke, candlelight, our silence, our presence, some tension, our breath, our energy. Then you are invited one by one to go and take your shot. Actually, it tasted quite bitter for me. So I had some honey afterwards. And when I got the medicine, when I was about to take my medicine, I whispered my intention to her. And it was, please help me to see what there is to see, feel what there is to feel, and know what there is to know. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I went back to my mat. You don't have a watch or clock, or no, you don't have access to time. So this time is, I'm guessing this time that 10 minutes passed, 20 minutes passed, nothing was happening, 30 minutes, maybe more, maybe less. Then the silence got interrupted by the noise of somebody or someone vomiting. The first time is not pleasant at all. But you know what? You get actually so used to it, and very quickly. Now, how was my experience overall? I would say unbelievable. Unbelievable, profound, life-enhancing, really, really highly impactful. I wouldn't say it was life-changing, not yet for me, because I've been working on myself and I had some really profound experiences too. But this is for sure like one of the top ones for sure. I wouldn't say also it was for me, especially the ayahuasca experience. It wasn't rosy, full of love, light, unicorns and rainbows kind of way, where Archangel Michael shows up and gives you a divine message on a silver plate. No, not for me. I'm gonna share my experience. Bear with me. I first started seeing visions of colorful sacred geometry. That was so cool, right? That was so cool. I'm like, oh wow. Then I started with the vomiting, and things turned very intense for me. My head was spinning, and I started feeling so unwell. And I entered a vortex of dark energy, where I met shadows, fears, and my controlling self. Which I didn't even have a fucking clue I had an aspect of that within me. I guess as you are raising your consciousness, you constantly need to check in on yourself, right? You constantly need to check in on yourself. And control came up very strongly. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I really wanted to, because although it was still disturbing, the feeling I was having while my eyes were open, it felt way much safer than having them closed. But the medicine, the medicine is very forceful. She was forcing me. It wasn't like, oh, Lara, would you mind opening your eyes? No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that with her. She was like, open your eyes. That is the grandmother energy. Open your eyes. I know what's best for you. Open your eyes. Go inside. Go inwards. Face your bloody shadows. Face your shadows. I started battling with her. I regret it. And this is a control. This is my control was showing up now. I regretted taking the plant. I was like, I wanted to leave. Get me out of here. Do you know what? Take my money. I'll pay you double. But you know what? Let me out now. Why did I get myself into this kind of shit? I don't need this kind of thing in my life. I'm perfectly okay as I was. All this was happening with the plant, And the more I was doing it, the more she was showing me that, the stronger she was with me. But obviously it wasn't possible for me to go, Do you remember in my whispers, I said to her before taking her, I said specifically to show me, please, what I need to feel, see, and know. And the medicine delivered to perfection. She did a magnificent job delivering what I needed to feel, to see, and know. So it comes a point after some battling, because the more I wanted to control the situation, the darker and the more disturbing and painful the experience was becoming. But I had some strength to ask for help, and I asked to be taken outside. And I was scared, I was scared for my life. I mean, physically, I was fine. I was perfectly fine. But, this is an inner journey, right, that you're going through. And I sincerely felt as if I was dying. And in fact, I remember saying once, I want to die. It felt as if I was being scanned and eaten from inside as the plant was taking over my body. It felt like a nightmare. It felt like you've been imprisoned somewhere with no escape. Now later, I understood that my death was an energetic one, a very much needed one too. And old Lara completely disappeared. She was eaten. She's gone. She's released. Now, this is what some people might refer to as the death of the ego. I don't know, actually. I might ask about it next time to see what's their understanding of the death of the ego. Now, my understanding of the death of the ego when it comes to ayahuasca, it's a metaphor, actually, because it's impossible for you to kill the ego. That would be literally like your physical death. Because what many people refer to as the ego is actually a trauma response. For me, I understand the death of the ego in relation to ayahuasca as it means a state of presence. It means surrendering to something way much greater and bigger than your humanity. You are surrendering to the intelligence of life through, in this case, through the plant. Now, here's something also that I've learned is that the plant will show you things sometimes literally and sometimes metaphorically. So we need to learn also how the language of metaphors. Now, once I faced the control, we moved on. It was like very quick, it wasn't quick. It felt like a lifetime there. But, after that work was done, we moved on to another chapter. And now I needed to face my fears. Which again, I thought, I don't have fears, excuse me. Now, here's something very interesting, because some fears felt mine, most felt mine, but some felt from this lifetime and others felt from another lifetime. And also some fears were not mine. I could feel they were not mine. They were from the collective. So for me, I needed a big lesson It was a lesson of trust, big one, that you either trust the medicine 100%, or in my case, it was going to imprison me in the hell of my mind. So in the meantime, I kept puking and vomiting and also expressing. I mean, I don't know in what state I was. That even after the vomiting, I was saying, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so grateful for the release. Now, something very interesting as well, that the plant was asking me, she was forcing me to ask for help desperately, and I couldn't stand being on my own, by the way, which is very interesting because I'm quite a solitary person, and I'm very comfortable with my own self and my own energy. And this has actually made me realize that I really need to ask for help. And there were other really beautiful and personal insights while healing still was taking place. Now, I need to stop here for a second, and I need to say a big, massive thank you to Mr. A. Mr. A, what a man, an earth angel who held space for me during this very dark time in the most loving, in the most open, in the most respectful way. I clinged onto him. And I didn't fucking let him go. It's like, you're not leaving. It's like, don't leave me alone. I need you. No, his support was so divinely guided, absolutely vital. And it had to be specifically him. He had to be him, which of course wasn't planned at all, because his presence was linked to me healing some family relationships. Now, something else very interesting happened is that despite the fact that there was a wonderful, beautiful woman there to support other women in case, we needed her, I needed the support of the masculine. I didn't want another woman to support me. I needed a man to support me, which I am sure there is something to unpack here, which I haven't seen yet, so it will come if it has to come, whenever. Now, it came a point, by the way, because I was suffering so much. I didn't know if I was asleep. I didn't know if I was in trance, or I didn't know if I was losing consciousness. Really no idea. And then the team, because I also asked for it a couple of times, then the team decided to do something called, I think it's called recalibration. But actually might have another word. Recalibration. Let's call it recalibration. Where basically they will do something onto you. You don't have to ingest anything. You'll do something on you to make you feel better and to lower the intensity of the medicine, because you've already taken the medicine anyway. So so they do something on you. Now, that was magical. That was another mystical experience on its own. Now, I don't want to freak you out even more. I don't know how you're feeling about this experience so far. So what I was seeing there, it was insane. All I could tell you, I'm going to tell you only one thing, that whenever I managed to open my eyes and look at him, I couldn't see him. All I could see was a silhouette. Sorry, let me go back. All I could see was energy contained in a silhouette of his body, the silhouette being his body. I couldn't see the nose, I couldn't see the eyes. I could hear him, but all I could see whenever I was looking at his face was pure energy. How insane, right? How fucking insane. Anyways, 15 minutes or so later, I started feeling better, way much better. They kept checking on me all the time. I felt so supported, so loved by the whole team. And I went into the second part of the experience. So first we needed to face the shadows. Now it was time to face the light. I was still sitting outside, lying on my mat, and also realizing that I was in the middle of another insight right there. And that is, I needed to be on my own outside to occupy and claim my space fully, both physically and also in life. Ladies, magic started to happen. Magic with the K started to happen. When I opened my eyes and I looked at the sky, it was the most gorgeous thing ever. It's inexplicable. There are no words to describe the beauty I was witnessing and I was feeling. It was so beautiful. And I finally experienced this mystical and this abstract concept of oneness. That if you're on the spiritual path, you may have heard of oneness. Finally, I experienced oneness. I felt it with nature. I didn't feel it with humans, not yet. I felt it with nature, with humans, with my fellow brothers and sisters. I felt really deep love for everyone. Gratitude and deep love. And I remember when I was outside, because I was verbalizing things, and all I could say was, "Oh wow, really? Oh my God. Oh, you're so beautiful. I love you so much. I'm so sorry." And I was crying. I cried a lot. Again, there was a lot of healing was also taking place, and I received visions. Sometimes felt visions from the past, visions from the future, and I received messages. I received insights. There was also a funny moment there. There was actually quite a few funny moments, but one of them is this, and that is when I got into an interesting dialogue with the medicine. She told me, to let go of a project that I'm very involved and attached to, and I said, no, I'm not leaving. No, I'm not doing that. I love it. I'm not. And she was like, she wasn't like, "Oh, would you mind? Actually, Lara, I think you should." She was like, "No, let it go." And I'm like, "I'm not letting it go." She said, "Let it go." And I asked, "But why? I love it. Why?" And she goes, "Because you will be creating something greater, more aligned with you and with the mission that you have in life." I said, "Okay." I said, "But what is it?" And she said, "Trust. It will come to you." I'm like, "Okay, I see." I was still on the floor. My arms were open the whole time. My arms were open. Every time I wanted, to change positions, I wanted to curl up, or I wanted, to put my arms on my tummy or whatever, or to wipe my tears, because the whole point, I was crying so much. She would abruptly open my arms, and I was learning somatically. This is one of the key messages again from my experience: to open, to surrender, and to trust. To open, to surrender, and to trust. The medicine cracked me open. And after some time, I went back to sleep. I fell asleep. Now, the next day, I was feeling still the medicine. I was quiet. I was present. I was writing down everything I could remember. And I had it clear that I was going to sit with her again that night, because we had two nights. We had beautiful interactions with our brothers and sisters in there, lots of hugs, lots of sharing of insights and revelations. It was really, really magical, really magical. Now comes the night, 9 p.m. or so. The team opened sacred space, and this time I decided to get a tiny lower dose. And you know what happened is I showed up completely this time. I showed up completely in a completely different way. I showed up with so much trust. I showed up with so much presence. I didn't invoke the angels. I didn't invoke the goddess. I didn't pray. I didn't need to pray. I realized that my prayers and invocations from the day before were a form of control. And control was released from my system. Control and trust don't go together. I took my shot after whispering to her, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Back to my mat. I waited. Nothing was happening. Then she started teasing me gently. She started showing up, saying, "Hey, I'm here, darling, I'm here." Then she tested me. She scared me a little bit, but this time I wasn't scared. So she started playing with me, showing me visions. I didn't puke at all. Nothing. I didn't need to, actually. And for the whole for the remaining for the next however long, 5, 6, 7 hours of the duration of the ceremony, I was lying on the floor in the room with my arms and my legs open. Some actually thought I was asleep, but I wasn't, because my assignment for that night was be, now, and love. Be, now, and love. I didn't engage in any doing. In fact, when we got invited to take the second shot of the night, or there was a time also when we could dance. I didn't want to take the shot. She was like, in fact, honey, why do you want to take another shot? What's the rush? We haven't completed our work yet. Chill. So my assignment was to be in the now. And when I was opening my eyes from time to time, I was observing people. I was observing, no judgment whatsoever, zero judgment. I saw so much beauty and felt even compassion and love to a particular person that, I felt he triggered me. And that night I saw his pain. I could see his pain, but also his magnificence. And I was sending him love and cheering him every time he was puking, supporting him. Because again, the puke is release. And that was a beautiful moment as well, to see compassion and to see love beyond judgments. The sacred music. Oh my goodness. Let's talk about the music for a second. It tasted so differently and so delicious this time. Now, music is a super important part and component in ayahuasca retreats. It literally keeps the medicine alive, awake, and dancing inside you. And whenever you felt like things were settling down, Sharif, our superstar sacred musician, he played something and reawakened and revived the plant inside you. That was freaking magical. This time, the plant, I shared some visions, some practical reminders and information. There was one of the lessons was something like the fact that something is offered to you, it doesn't mean it's yours, right? This could be anything from a second ayahuasca shot to a marriage proposal, to a project, to a job, right? So on Friday, basically, after being cleansed, I was shown the what, and on Saturday, I was shown the how. And although I had plenty of space for personal healing, I also felt as if a big chunk also of my experience was geared to serve the feminine. So, ladies, I don't know how you feel about this so far. Work-wise, I have nothing concrete to, as of yet, in terms of a new program or anything like that to share with you. Nothing. And you know what? I am so cool with it. I'm so cool with it. I trust so much that I have zero doubt that things will work out. I'm not even curious. That sometimes I'm so curious about how this will develop. Zero curiosity about what's to come. Because I am what's about to come. I don't need patience either. Because being patient and being curious have an energy of mistrust, disengagement, and control. Then the next day, I was still in deep presence. We had an integration session and we closed the retreat. So where am I now? I am in the integration phase. It's been a week since I came back. I'm still super aware that I need to walk the wisdom, share it, and become it fully. The medicine is one part of the transformation. You are the rest of the transformation. And also I'm aware that the plant is not the answer to everything. It's a super incredibly powerful tool, one of the most powerful tools I have experienced so far, without a doubt. I will, of course, continue with my meditations, with my altar work, with my priestess training, with my one-to-ones, with my readings, with everything, to continue working with myself. The coming back, it was a little bit challenging, I have to say. It felt as if I was very disconnected from life. So I needed some grounding to be part, again, of the experience of life. And what are some of the changes I have noticed so far? Well, I have noticed very clearly improved relationships, rejection of certain type of food. I feel beautiful. I feel more grounded, more present, trusting. I feel more at peace. I let go of some mini projects work-wise that I wasn't feeling. So thank you so much. Out. Not resonating with them. And here's something. It's like these are things that it's not like I didn't know before. Some of them were brand new revelations, but some of the things were something that I knew already. So why didn't I action the letting go of certain things? Interesting. My relationship with cacao, I've been taking cacao for the past 3 years or so, and it has exploded. It has exploded, my relationship with cacao, which is another plant medicine. And I booked my next session, my next retreat. we still have some work to do, the medicine and I. So I'm sitting with her again in November. So my lovelies, to start wrapping up, for me, ayahuasca, although it has some masculine energy traits, I really felt her to be predominantly feminine, very goddessy at times. I felt Kali, I felt Aphrodite, I felt Isis coming through, and quite archetypal too. I felt the wild woman, the healer, the medicine woman, the lover, the wise woman coming through very strongly as well. The medicine for me is love, compassion, softness, all the strength, also strengths and rage and fears and darkness, but beauty too. And from my feminine lens, saying yes to the medicine is saying yes to the mystery of the feminine as an aspect of the greater intelligence of life. Finally, my last point here, sisters, and some of the brothers that will be also sharing and listening to this podcast, but this is for the ladies. It's not even in an infant stage, and I'm putting it out there without knowing what's going to happen with this idea, which is the idea of organizing a feminine ayahuasca retreat, not only to sit with the healing powers of the ayahuasca, but also to do some feminine empowerment activities, bringing the body, somatic dances, talk therapy. I'm putting it out there. I don't know, sisters, if this is what I'm supposed to birth. I haven't got a clue. So if the idea of having an ayahuasca retreat for women to connect to our feminine, to initiate ourselves into our womanhood while sitting with the medicine is something that attracts you, please give me a nudge, give me a sign, drop me a little email, a little note to say, Lara, I think this is a brilliant idea, or I'm in, whenever. I don't have dates, I don't have a structure, I don't have a name, I don't have nothing. All I know is that the guides, our guides are also very open to do this with me as a retreat for women. That's all I have, and the idea that I'm putting out there right now. So, what do you think, lady? What do you think? Please give me some feedback about what do you think about this. I hope you really enjoyed this podcast today. It's slightly longer than normal. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here with me in this very personal experience and different type of podcast that or sharing that I normally do. It's a different kind of share. Get in touch. Sending you all so much love. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now. That's all for today, ladies. Thank you so much for joining this space, and I truly hope you found it insightful. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to the podcast and share it with your friends and the women in your lives so they could also benefit from it too. If you want to get in touch, you are very welcome to contact me through Instagram, LinkedIn, or send me an email to support@laracalaf.com. Speak to you very soon.